To dominate a woman's body, doctors deliberately increase the dose during anesthesia so that we can violate her without her realizing it. But just when he thought his plan was perfect, the women are acting scared because the image of her assault just now kept flashing through her mind. But when she got home, the more she thought about it, the worse it got. Although the doctor said it was just a hallucination from the anesthesia, but she felt that it was real abuse. To clear his name, Casey soon arrived at the hospital to have the residue genetically identified, and he called the police to do him justice. But here's the surprise. The sheriff didn't believe her after she told him what happened to her, because he's a highly respected doctor in the town, and no one would believe he could do such a thing. And Casey is a poor man. They had every reason to believe Casey was saying this to blackmail the doctor. But as sheriff, he still needs to look into this. He asked Casey to tell him everything that happened yesterday. Turns out Kathy was at work last night, and my boyfriend came to flirt with me out of the blue. But then she inadvertently realized, I can't believe there's another woman in my boyfriend's car. In a fit of anger, she pushed her boyfriend right out of the room. But then the boyfriend countered with it's an unfortunate injury to Casey's left hand. She had no choice but to seek treatment at the hospital in the first place. And after seeing her like this, Dr. Charlie came up and started hitting on her. And in the course of treatment, he also forced Casey to go under general anesthesia. And then an unspeakable scene ensued. After listening to Casey, the sheriff's mind had a general idea of what to expect. He soon sent his men to find Dr. Charlie for questioning. Kathy called the police to report that she was assaulted by you yesterday. Ooh, what? She said you drugged her and assaulted her. Charlie was shocked to hear the police say that. As a highly regarded doctor himself, how could you possibly do such a thing? But when asked by the police what happened last night, instead, the doctor told a completely different story than Casey's. He was treating someone for a fall, but then Casey, who was drunk, came running in, and he was yelling and screaming the whole time, so as not to disturb other patients. He had to take Casey to the treatment room first to work on her. But in the meantime, Casey suddenly asked the doctor to give him a shot to calm him down, even though Charlie kept emphasizing the hallucinogenic effects of tranquilizers. But at Casey's forceful request, he still had no choice but to give her a shot of. But then Casey just slept and nothing happened. As a highly regarded doctor, and naturally, the police took Charlie's word for it. But for the sake of the authorities, I'll tell them what happened. He still had Charlie draw a tube of blood. It's good for gene matching. What Casey didn't expect, however, was genetic sequencing has revealed that the two are not related at all. And that means that someone else assaulted Casey. Things have gotten a lot more confusing. And naturally, Casey didn't believe in such a result. He raged against the sheriff's underhandedness. Or they changed the test results to protect the doctor. The sheriff feels wronged when he hears things like that. He immediately dialed his subordinate, asked the person if they saw the doctor draw blood, and after getting a negative answer, the sheriff turned around and found the doctor. He cited erroneous test results. He asked the doctor for another blood draw, and this time the sheriff was right next to it. Witnessed a syringe sticking into a doctor's arm. B plus NAC 26PP _ R010Y03 plus NAC. Surprisingly, however, 26, the test result is still a mismatch. When Casey came back to the station and made a scene, the sheriff was furious. He thinks Casey's making a strong case. You an honorable doctor, but I've been slandered 3 times by a crazy woman. The chief warned her that if she ever got out of line again, then he wouldn't mind taking Casey to jail on the spot. And seeing that the sheriff was already fuming and helpless, Casey had to turn and leave. A father's attempt to get his daughter out of the darkness spent all her savings to put her in a mental hospital. After a period of therapy, Casey's emotions finally eased up too. When she got out of the hospital, Casey finally decided to start a new life. A young Steele, the family moved from the town to a more remote location, just to keep Casey out of the wrong eyes. But once when her daughter was playing with the girl next door, where did you guys move from? Ritter's town. Where is that? A town far from here. Why are you moving? Because my mom told a story that no one believed. Told a lie? I think so. Hearing her daughter say this, Kathy was once again in deep thought. Do you want your daughter to suffer because of your own cowardice?